All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Monday, May 12th meeting of the Pine Bluffs Town Council. Will everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item is the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. On to new business. Item number 1 is ordinance 2025-02. Whoops. Oh, wait a minute. We have the consent agenda. Excuse me. Backing up, item number 1 is the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Now on to new business. Item number 1 is ordinance 2025-02 on the first reading. The annual appropriations ordinance for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026.
I move to approve ordinance 2025-02 on the first reading.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance 2025-02 on the first reading. Any discussion?
Mayor, could you read the title of that into the record?
Oh, okay. I thought I did the first time, but okay.
Oh, did you read the whole thing? Did I
Yeah,
miss it?
annual
Oh.
appropriations ordinance for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026.
Sorry.
That's all right. Discussion.
I don't know, I still can't get it to load.
Having loading issues.
Yeah, I can never get it to load on here.
I don't think any big changes from earlier versions we've seen. You want to outline, Kim, anything?
Sure. We were able to, successfully balance our general fund as well as each of our enterprise accounts, with the exception of the airport. We're struggling to make that balance. Last year, it was a little bit easier to balance because for a couple of years now, we have not had any major projects at the airport that needed a town share. As you know, the last major project we had there was the airport terminal and hangar building, and due to COVID funding, that ended up being paid for 100% with federal funds. This year, we have the AWAS replacement project, and our local match to that project is $18,000. As of right now, again, we're having a little bit of difficulty making that whole department balance, and I will continue to work with the airport manager to see where we can maybe shave some funds and get that account evened out. I did add in the anticipated addition of drinking water SRF loan number 255 with an annual payment of $46,875 to hit our debt retirement or debt service account in the water department. I would like to request of the governing body that, for our town contributions, that in order for agencies to receive a town contribution, that they should share with us a copy of their treasurer's report that they are most likely doing on a monthly basis anyway.
I would agree with that.
Seems appropriate.
Can you tell me under electrical system, just based on our previous conversation, where the number would be in, so the $75,000 number would be the anticipated, based on just general maintenance that we would, I mean, barring some bigger costs, but just generally that we would, for doing ongoing maintenance.
Yes, that would be contract labor to do any maintenance. On line 23, where you see parts and supplies for operations and maintenance, that additional 56,500 would be for any parts that we purchase. In addition, we have 60,000 under infrastructure, under capital outlay. So if we were to make a major infrastructure change, there could be funds pulled from there as well. So it's kind of spread out in 3 different locations, and within that enterprise fund, we can move funds around if needed throughout the year. Say, we aren't doing the majority of parts purchasing, then it would go under our subcontracted labor line or the repair and maintenance line for labor.
Okay. Any other discussions? Hearing none. It's moved in second. I guess we've already done that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2 is resolution 2025-10. A resolution of the governing body of the town of Pine Bluffs declaring its reasonable expectation to reimburse itself with proceeds of future federal BIL revenues for certain airport capital expenditures in connection with a project undertaken by it and identifying said project.
I move to adopt resolution 2025-10.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution 2025-10. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3 is the Prairie View Industrial Park covenants. Did everybody get a chance to look those over? Input? There were only, I think,
It's in the 7s.
this, so the 5.1.2, is that changed in any way since we talked, or is,
It has
it's highlighted, but,
Right, the highlight is highlighting, Councilman Kraus had a question or a clarification
oh,
on
okay,
that.
sorry.
Yep.
I think as I stated, I didn't do it in the, I agree with Dave, but I also think in addition to that, I think the side yard setback on a corner lot should be the same as it is
As the front?
from the front,
Okay.
thus acting like front, but, because it references a setback from a line marked on the plat, and I'm not sure we have that. So maybe you could ask your clarifying, what does side building lot mean?
Yeah, that was all I just want to make sure I understood what that was referring to.
Yes.
So if it faces, yeah,
I will get that reworded
and that would not include fences.
no, it would
That
not.
would only include structures.
I think as I read a little further, I think it became more clear that that probably was a moot point. Thank you for clarifying that.
I think the revision you made in 7.2 works really great.
Your note here about 7.1 and Alex's need to
Yeah, before we send that off for legal review, is
Yeah.
that a route that we even want to go?
I mean, I understand the objective. I guess I'll say that. And I understand the reason. Anybody else have thought? I don't want to really weigh in until
I would agree with it. I would do it.
I think it does give you some ability to look at.
Gives you some ability to do something
Right.
rather than,
I mean, it doesn't say we're going to do it, it just says we'll
Says
have
that
the
you
right
can.
to.
Well, my opinion is it should just move on to legal. Hope he doesn't crush it.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think it's looking really good.
Is there anything left out of it that anyone would like to?
And under paragraph 5.5, I just want to be sure that I captured your intent for the screening.
Let's see, 212 is the South Road. Or 213, I mean.
Yeah.
And I know that eventually that may get renamed, but
And
it's not going
probably,
to happen anytime
yeah,
soon, so.
and Sweetgrass is North Butler.
Correct.
Yeah.
I was mostly worried about Sweetgrass, but I don't see an issue with enforcing that along the south. Like this is tricky for me, because you do create a potential problem depending on the setback of that for snow, because it tends to pile on the other side of trees, so
Got it.
we could be encroaching into some of those lots a ways to make it work for that and for, but I do feel like to the best of our ability, we should try to shelter passersby from any industrial activity to some extent.
Yes.
So,
And you don't feel the need for that along Buffalo?
I just think if you ever build the other road, not ever build the other road, when the other road gets built, it will be
The main thoroughfare?
yeah, I just can't imagine people not just driving straight across the tracks and continuing on, but I could be
Right.
wrong about that.
Yeah.
What is it? Yeah. I don't care. I guess does anybody else have an idea or whether they think that's good or bad? I mean, obviously the area needs some, what would be the proper term? Forestation? I don't know I don't think that's a
Yeah.
word probably, but anyway, we need something out there anyway.
Yeah. While I'm not a deciding person here, I guess from my perspective, I would rather see screening on Buffalo than on 213. And, you know, in case I were to decide to drive that way, and we won't know what the, potential development will be just north of the current industrial park. We have that vacant land there, and that could either be additional light industrial, commercial, or it could be high-density residential. We just, you know, we don't know
Right.
what's gonna happen there, but, I just think as an entrance into that development in general that, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but we also don't know the timeline for Sweetgrass.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Me neither.
But whereas 213 is already kind of industrial, right on the south side of 213 anyway, so
Yep.
something to at least think about. And
Yeah, I would be in favor of that change.
Yeah, me too.
Any other thoughts about it? I mean, Dennis has, some more experience with industrial areas where we're trying to shield it from
Yeah.
passersby heading to other areas. Do you think it's,
I think that it's the approach that you've taken is adequate, it's good.
well, let's go ahead and switch 213 to Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
I think, one of my issues with this is we have no way of saying what's appropriate, which is all right. It leaves it a bit open. Like, what does that look like? You know, do you need, I know you have the spacing, but, you know,
I just don't
frankly, you
want
want to, you know, I don't want to get into telling people we can do it based on site plans as submitted, but when they say they're going to have 2 or 3 driveways or 1 driveway
Sure.
abutting or that runs through this buffer zone, like how wide can it be? I just don't want to make it so, I want there to be some thought about like sheltering the vision, but I'm not too hung up on it having to be like, you know, you can only have a 40-foot wide entrance and trees have to run or fence has to run right up to it. I don't know what everyone else thinks, but
Well,
I think some latitude would be
Yeah,
good.
we can field those questions when we get like the site plan for whoever's building on those lots, and we can just make it be known at the time that it's not super restrictive, it's just would that impact snow if we were to go with the Buffalo?
I think it would be less on Buffalo. It would be on the owner's property at least then. It
Yeah,
wouldn't
because
be
you're gonna have
covering
the
a
snow
road.
fence effect on that, it's gonna be on the right side of the
Yeah, that is my concern on Sweetgrass is we probably need to keep an eye on what their site plan is about how far it is back, and I don't know what like, there's obviously somebody's done the study to know how far that should be. I have no idea, but
Right.
I say we put it in there. Like,
Okay.
these are always, I'm not a huge fan of, but if somebody comes to us with a plan, like, I think we at least aren't trying to put extra rules in on the spot.
Right.
We can always evaluate it, which hold it to a lesser standard. Any other thoughts? Yeah. I mean, I could go through this, just my one last statement, and some things are more difficult than others. The landscaping could be difficult to fit in that time frame, but I guess if it's as completion of construction, you can simultaneously be thinking about that, but
Yeah, that is a little quick, but
at least we have something in there.
Okay,
I'm good with what you have.
okay. Well, then I'll get it cleaned up and send it off for Alex's review, and,
Yeah, I need a map.
sure, I will send you a
Send
plat,
me a map too, because I get mixed up on what street's what.
sure.
Not us.
No,
Me, anyway. I'm like, I never
you
know.
guys
Right.
got it down pat.
Okay. Visitor comments? Anyone? Hearing none. Department reports. Dave, do you have anything?
I don't, no meetings since our last meeting.
I have a WMPA meeting this Thursday, so I have nothing to report.
nothing new for me either.
My next meeting's Wednesday, so I don't have anything either.
I just have a couple of questions. I need to get that Helena MOU.
I think it's signed over here.
And, on these covenants, how are they kind of dovetailing with zoning and zoning operations and designations?
So these covenants are only for the industrial park out there. And we are currently working on a revision of the zoning ordinance for everybody to review, and we will have that at the next meeting.
And that area will be zoned industrial?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only area out there that will be zoned industrial.
Yeah, I mean, inevitably, there's a certain amount of overlap, you know,
Yeah.
so, okay.
Leanne?
I got back from the LPA training. I was gone while you guys had your quarterly dinner. It went really well. So I got all the steps for processing grants through IDOT, so I can help Kim with that officially now. And got some great contacts with some other municipalities, so it was a really good conference, so I'm glad I went. And like I said earlier, during the workshop, Jerica and I are trying to push Text My Gov out even more. So hopefully we'll get more community members signing up.
Yeah, that would be great. Kim?
Just continuing to work through, the budget and through our, audits and the zoning ordinance. And then I just had a question for Alex, if you had an opportunity to look up the requirements for renaming the street?
The street up north?
Yeah,
I did not.
okay. No rush.
Okay.
So we're talking about 213.
No, we're talking about the one that we currently do in the renaming process of North Beach to Buffalo.
Oh,
213, we will not rename until we do the project to run it straight through North Main out to 215. And that will be down the road a piece, so.
great. Anything else?
Oh, and Altitude will be starting the electric portion of the North project here within the next week or so.
Great. Announcements and meetings.
May 27th is our next council meeting. We're gonna have a workshop at 5 o'clock and our regular council meeting at 6.
Can we make the workshop at 4:30?
Sure.
I think that's our normal workshop time.
Yeah.
It is our normal
one
workshop, but
was
that's the
different.
one that we'll have our broker
Oh,
here to go through.
Yep, no, 5 o'clock
Is
is
that okay?
fine.
All right.
Yeah.
5
Okay.
o'clock is fine, sorry.
Okay.
And because we moved, did we take official action? Do we have to take official action to move that meeting date?
Monday would normally be the meeting, Alex, but it's Memorial Day, so we're moving it to Tuesday.
Well, you should, notice it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
well-
notice it.
Definitely put notice out.
Okay. Any other business? I have nothing.
I move to adjourn.
Second it.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.